Hey guys, so last week I put out a video that stirred up some emotions for some people, including myself. If you haven't seen it, I suggest you go watch that video, watch that song before you watch the rest of this video. It's an original song I wrote, and for those of you who aren't gonna do that and who haven't seen it, the song is about wanting to find a man who's gonna love me the right way and well. And the line was, is it so hard to ask for the kind of guy who gives a damn? Let me take you through my brain before I put this song out. When I wrote it, I was like, is it okay to put this word in here? And not because I don't sometimes use those words in my everyday language. I didn't feel like it was wrong, but this video is not about whether you think that cussing is wrong or right. I was nervous to put it out in front of you guys because up until this point, about a week ago, I had painted myself to be the kind of girl that takes out the curse words in songs and replaces it with a different word. And I knew that Alex about 3 years ago would have judged her fellow YouTuber who decided to put out a word with a curse word in it. That was my mindset back then, and I was kind of judgmental, but had no right to be. I was nervous that you guys were going to react in a similar way. Even though I knew I was staying in my integrity and what I was saying was not bad, it was not a bad thing, especially in context of the whole song. Also, what I tend to do is I don't give you guys the benefit of the doubt before putting out a video that I'm nervous to put out, because every single time I do, you guys are like so encouraging and you respond so well and you are so positive and affirming. That was the overwhelming response when I put up this video. But just like life, you may get all the compliments and positive affirmation that you need about something, but the two negative comments are going to stick out like a sore thumb. So naturally, that happened with me. I was already a little bit vulnerable and susceptible to the kind of judgment that I did receive about using that word, so those comments got to me more than hate comments usually do. So I decided to engage them. There were two conversations happening that started the same. They started in disagreement and ended completely differently. The reason why is because one person sought to understand, the other person had their own agenda, wasn't seeking to understand, was just judgmental and ended up bitter and unhappy. I felt really loved and cared about by the person who asked questions and wanted to know more about why I felt the way I did, and didn't just sit there going, well, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're not a Christian. The other conversation left me very frustrated. It just irks me when someone that I don't know will judge my character, my integrity, and my faith behind a computer screen. I hear this a lot from people, especially Christians, that they are just trying to tell me the truth in love, and it's just tough love. And that, honestly, is one of the most frustrating things ever. Because first of all, love seeks to understand, and love knows. And if you don't know me, and if you're not in my life and doing life with me, you've built that trust, then you can't come to me with a criticism and a judgment and a condemnation and claim that I am not who I say that I am. Because that is not love, that is just cruelty. No matter what you believe, if you're behind a screen and you are talking to someone who is putting out these videos, who's stepping into an arena of vulnerability and honesty and trying to be authentic, even if they're not stepping into that realm, if you don't know that person, it is not your place to tell them who they are and why they're wrong. I think it's so easy to point fingers and say that someone is wrong. I also think it's easy, and I think it's especially cruel, to do it in the name of God, because I really don't believe that God does that. I don't believe that that's his character. Yes, there is some love that is tough. Yes, there are things that are true that we need to hear. I believe that those things are absolutely necessary, but I really believe that someone needs to earn the right in your life, and someone needs to earn your trust to be able to tell you those things. If you are telling someone what they're doing wrong to make you feel like you're doing it more right, that is not why you should be telling them anything. You should just shut your mouth right there. But I really think that the way this world is going to change is just by loving people. And sometimes love means shutting your mouth. And sometimes love means saying things that are difficult, but the underlying factor in this is that love seeks to know and love seeks to understand. And I really think that a lot of conflicts and a lot of issues going on in the world right now could be different and could end up beautiful and positive if we just would stop and remember that we are not the only ones in the world with a correct way of thinking. There are too many different cultures and too many different human beings. I just think that if we can keep an open mind, if we can seek to know somebody better, ask questions instead of judging and pointing fingers and condemning, that is what is truly going to change the world. And if you are on my channel and you disagree with something that I'm doing, that is okay. I do not want the people who follow me to all agree about everything. I don't think that's a healthy environment. As I was saying, I think a healthy environment is when people can disagree and have totally different opinions of the world and of faith and of God, and still come on the other side of that disagreement, understanding and loving, and still being for the person you disagree with. I think for me, I trust my integrity, and I trust the people around me to hold me accountable in that integrity, that the way I live my life is also the way I portray myself in conversation and on YouTube and in my music, and so I'm trying really hard to do that. My desire in this whole YouTube and music world is to show you guys a more whole me, not just the fragments that I want you to see. Sometimes that means saying things that people might not like hearing, and that's okay. You guys have all seen the transformation that I've made in the last few years, and I've talked a lot about it. And I will say this, I've realized that I want my art to be honest and true. And I think that pretending that I don't feel the way that I feel, and pretending that I don't hurt the way that I hurt, and pretending that I don't think these unwholesome things doesn't mean that I don't. And it doesn't mean that you guys don't either. I think that if we are honest about our experiences, it'll make concepts like grace and love feel a lot more like real, tangible things, and a lot less like a piece of scripture that you can quote. I believe that to be true. I really think that we all can be for each other while we may not agree with each other. So as we move forward on my channel, I love you guys. I don't know all of you guys, and so with that being said, I will do my best to understand you and to not jump to my own conclusions about you if you disagree with me, because I tend to do that as well. It's very much something that I have to catch myself on. I just want this to be a community of people where we seek to understand instead of seeking to be right. I think that's all I wanted to say. Go make the world a better place. If you don't have anything nice to say, please just don't say it, because it may seem like we are so far away, us in these little boxes on our computers, on the internet, on YouTube, and we may have a number attached to our name, but we are still people, and we still see the things that you say. I am still just as much hurt by a comment you guys leave, just as much as I'm hurt by someone in my everyday life hurting my feelings. I've had to get thick skin over the years, but there are still some things that are my weakness. Just to be kind. Alright, I'm really excited to show you guys more of my music. If you guys want to support me, go on over to patreon.com/alexg. I'm so excited about all the things we are doing together and all the things that I have planned for you in this coming year. Have a wonderful rest of your day, guys. Bye!